I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
2 seconds later.
Relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence.
Why does Joe Scarborough still have a job after so blatantly lying to the public? Age is not a good enough excuse for Joe Biden's dementia. Today I want to explore the nutritional and digestive issues that result in memory loss and why some people are still sharp as a tack. But first, please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Joe Biden famously eats like a teenager. His favorite drink is orange Gatorade. And while he supposedly does not drink alcohol, he does keep his energy up with black coffee and diet soda. For breakfast, he likes Special K cereal, eggs, toast, and fruit. And I get the impression that the eggs, toast, and fruit are forced upon him. That means his diet favors sugar, artificial sweeteners, and petroleum-based dyes that are known to cause mental disorders. Joe also loves ice cream. His wife, of course, tries to mitigate all of this by encouraging him to eat more vegetables and lean proteins. That last part, even though I am sure it is well-intentioned, is not good for brain health either. So let's break this down. Take fiber. I should probably preface this by saying this is not a manifesto against fiber. However, fiber is mostly indigestible. In fact, you could call it an anti-nutrient, which means that it binds to nutrients before your body can absorb them, which leads to many of the disorders associated with getting older. And because it's indigestible, it gets harder and harder over time for the body to pump it through the digestive system. Now it starts clinging to the gut wall, leading to profuse diarrhea to try and flush it out. Because it's lining the gut wall, the food you eat cannot be assimilated because it can't reach the gut wall where these nutrients are normally absorbed. I haven't found any evidence that he's specifically following a low-salt diet, but it is always recommended to the elderly as a precaution against high blood pressure. But the chloride molecule in salt, and by that I mean something like Himalayan salt, Celtic sea salt, Redmond salt, is required to make enough stomach acid to digest your food. A good sign of not getting enough salt in the diet or not making enough hydrochloric acid in the stomach is acid reflux. It also leads to food allergies and intolerances. This compounds the fiber issue and you'll start seeing food in your stools. The salt you actually need to avoid, salt in canned, boxed, frozen foods, and kosher salt, which is the least natural of all salt. His other bad habit is consuming too many cold foods and liquids. These literally put out what the Chinese would call digestive fire. Again, that stomach acid. These lead to partially digested foods, leaving all the work up to the intestines. Let's circle back to look at lean meat. The idea here is that by eating less cholesterol, perhaps his heart will last longer. However, cholesterol is the number one nutrient for the brain. In fact, the brain is made up of about 70% cholesterol. So when you deprive the body of cholesterol, the brain suffers. What about the heart? Well, how good is the heart without the brain? Most people don't even realize that the heart is naturally encased in saturated fat to modulate heart function. The establishment has done a really good job in conflating saturated fat with synthetic trans fats that they make in a lab. Even though memory loss is commonly reported in people who take statins, the statin drug makers refuse to acknowledge it as an official side effect, even though they do admit that these drugs cause constipation. I find it helpful to look at dementia as autism for the elderly, in part because the prescription for fixing both conditions is the same. If the person has severe constipation or extremely loose stools, you got to flush all of this dead debris off the walls of the intestines, and suddenly the brain comes back. You need to pump the diet full of rich, fatty meats, plenty of good quality salt, and nourishing, warming soups and stews. I hope that this video answers the plethora of questions I received after my last video. Please leave your thoughts and questions in the comments. And again, if you haven't had a chance to, please like and share this video out with your friends. I'm Mary Ploppins. Power to the poopers.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts.